Today I'll show you how to use Durham's water putty to repair water damage to the fascia.
You can get the shape a little bit closer to what you want, but then I'll definitely have to do some sanding to really get it to be the right shape once it's done. And again, getting your knife wet can help you to get things smoother. These structures that where there's depressions or wood missing or rotten wood, and sand it and prime it and paint it. We're going to be doing some fascia repair. This is the southern side of the house, so southern exposure gets the most sun, and the other fascia seems to be doing well, but this one's got some damage to the paint, also probably some water intrusion on the wood. So we're going to be doing some repair and then getting it textured and then painted. On this side, this wood is nice and solid, nice and intact, but over here we have part of the fascia that had water damage. We're going to be fixing this part first, and this one normally this line came to here and then over, and this wood was all deteriorated from water intrusion and dry rot. So basically just removed all of this until we got down to sound, strong wood again. And you can do that just by tearing it off with your hands. You can use pliers, could help. You could use a screwdriver to pry it out. You could even saw it to get down to the healthy wood. What we're going to do now is we're going to put in some screws to give it a matrix, and then we're going to be filling it to get it the proper shape again, and we'll show you that next step. So we have some galvanized screws. We're going to be putting these in deep into the wood, and we have to consider the line here where it comes down. So I don't want the screw to stick out this line here. Being cognizant of that line. Alright, might put a couple more. That matrix of screws set up, we're going to create a little guide by cutting a piece of wood here. I'll show you in a sec. Just going to use a jigsaw to cut this real quick. So we're going to have this here, and then I'll have a piece connected underneath it, and then I'll use that to help me as I fill this up. Just want to have something to hold it in position as it dries. A couple of screws to these two pieces of wood, and now we have something to hold everything in position. Alright, I'm going to put a little screw up in there too to hold it. We're using Durham's Rock Hard Water Putty. Stick stays put, will not shrink. This is 4 pounds. This is about $5 or so. Alright. A speckle knife. Another extra thing of water here. I'm just going to mix this Durham's with water to get it kind of a muddy paste consistency. So it's supposed to be about 3 parts Durham's to 1 part water. And I got to get it a bit thicker than normal for this application because it's got to go on kind of like mud. Stuff does dry fast, so having a little extra water with you is good, because if you're noticing that it's drying, you can always add water and that'll delay the drying time. Got a pretty good consistency. You want to make sure it's fully mixed. Alright, so we got a nice consistency. Let's go do that. Alright. So while it's setting up, I can use a little bit up here. This can be used to create nice flat surface again, where you may have some wood that's been damaged by water intrusion. Your putty knife. Okay, so stuff's starting to get a little bit harder. I'm going to add it in. So we're just letting this Durham's set up, get a little bit harder, and kind of shaping the side here. I'll end up removing some of the extra with just a power sander, but just trying to get the general shape. And some of the extra, I've been applying it up here. Once you get done, you can get your knife a little bit wet, and then you can just lightly go over, and that'll decrease how much sanding will be required, because you get a pretty smooth finish, and it just fills in some of the cracks and holes that come from water damage. And this stuff sets up really strong, even stronger than the original wood, and it's also really good for painting. So this would be good for getting the fascia repaired. Here's kind of the before and then after. It's a lot more sound. Now as it's getting a lot harder, you could do a little scribe line to separate your work from where you had your basically your mold or your board to shape it. And just using your finger, you can go in and smooth out with some water, smooth out any areas where you want to get it a little smoother, or if you notice that you have any material that the Durham's got on other things you didn't want, you can just use your finger or a paper towel, a wet paper towel, to clean it off. And then you can also, so we're going to do another coat here once this one dries to build it up to be perfectly flat. But you can also do a little bit of smoothing just so that there's less sanding at the end. And then a little flatter. I'll do my scribe line. All right, that's our first coat. We got the Durham's up here, so we can just use the water again, just lightly go over to get rid of some of the crease. And this product is fairly inexpensive, so I'd say for fascia like this, if you had maybe 5 of those four pound cans, probably do this whole thing. Just remove the old paint and fill in any of these structures that where there's depressions or wood missing or rotten wood, and sand it and prime it and paint it. And the prep work for the Durham's, that's where we had removed paint already and then put the Durham's. So we're getting rid of all the loose stuff. This is the southern exposed wall, so side of the house. So this fascia's gotten pretty beat up by the sun and the elements. We get off anything that's loose. So we get that corner done, that fascia, just letting that first one dry, and then we'll just add a little bit more after that to get it exactly flat and nice. We've done some repair up on the fascia, and what we'll do tomorrow is scrape off more, so we're protecting the greenery. Add the more Durham's, and once we get it on there, the whole thing's done, we'll sand it and then we'll prime it and paint it, and we can see that there's a lot of damage, but it should come out really nice and maybe give another 20 years of service.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope this has helped you to fix your fascia for your house. And please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance, and we can send you some more repair videos. Thanks again for watching.